Hello everyone, and welcome back to Chess with MNM. Today I brought to you one of the games of one of the greatest chess players ever in the chess history, Robert James Fischer, our Bobby Fischer. Now let's go away from this online tournament and let's go away from Chessable and Dangerous Abbey and let's go away from Carlsen and Nakamura and Karawana and Ishikiri and let's go back into one of the beautiful games for Fischer and this game played in 1970, okay, against Ocsar Panno. Now who is Ocsar Panno? I don't know, but the important thing here is that Fischer playing this game. Fischer with the white pieces, Ocsar Panno in the black pieces. Let's start this exciting game. Fischer opened this game by e4, Fischer's favorite first move. c5 played by Ocsar, and now a knight to f3, the Sicilian defense. e6 here played, time on variation in the Sicilian, and now d3. Fischer, okay, d3, knight to c6, and here g3. Fischer playing the king's Indian defense by this structure, g3 and d3 structure. g6 played now. I want to develop my bishop on this nice diagonal. Bishop to g2, and here bishop to g7. Here Fischer is simply castled, and now knight g to e7 played by Ocsar Panno, preparing to castle. Here rook to e1, bringing the rook into the e file to prepare to pushing e5 at some point, because one of the main ideas of this pawn structure is pushing e5 and grabbing space on the center. So here d6 played by Ocsar Panno, preventing any ideas like e5, and now c3 played by Fischer. See now this pawn, the c3, controlling the d4 square for any ideas like, controlling this square from the knight, also closing this diagonal on that bishop on the g7 square. So here Ocsar Panno castled, and now d4 by Fischer hitting the center, also grabbing the control of the center. Pawn capture on d4, and here d5 challenging Fischer on the center. Here Fischer pushed e5, grabbing more space on the king side, and keeping the center located or closed. And now after e5, bishop to d7, developing the bishop a little bit, also clearing the c8 square for the rook. Here knight to c3, developing the knight, and now rook to c8, bringing the rook into the c file. Bishop to f4, developing the bishop, and now knight to a5. I want to maneuver my knight into the c4 square. So here after knight to a5, rook to c1, also bringing, I want to bring my rook into the c file, and here Ocsar Panno pushed b5. b5, the idea that I want to grab more space on the queen side, because here, if we take a look at this position, we will see that the white has a space on the king side. So for this reason, probably the white will work on the king side. So because the white here will work on the king side, so here the black has to make counter attack on the other side. So here b5 pushed by Ocsar Panno, and now b3 played. Controlling the c4 square from this knight. b4, keep grabbing a space, also attacking the knight. Knight back to e2 played, and now bishop to b5, putting a pressure on the knight, also developing this unuseful bishop. Okay, so here after bishop to b5, queen to d2, preparing to playing something like bishop to h6, exchanging the dark squares bishop to weak this dark squares on the king side, and now knight a to c6, returning the knight into the game. Here g4 pushed by Fischer. g4, let's push g4, let's push h4, let's push h5, let's push the pawns on the king side, and let's attack this king. So simple. Here a5 played by Ocsar Panno, trying to do something on the other side. As we said, he has to do something on the king side, or on the queen side, sorry. And now knight to g3, bringing the knight into the king side, into the attack. Here queen to b6, activating the queen, putting more pressure on the d4 pawn. But here, the pawn protected twice, so there's nothing to worry about until now. And now h4 played by Fischer, preparing to pushing h5. Ocsar Panno here, until this position, here Ocsar Panno played knight back to b8. The position is still a little bit equal, and he says that the position is equal, but the idea that Fischer preparing to pushing h5, preparing to play knight to h6, followed by, if you capture, then followed by queen capture on h6 with knight to g5, threatening checkmate on the h7 square. Also h5 will open some files and some diagonals on the king side. And the problem here that Ocsar Panno has nothing to do on the queen side. It's too hard for Ocsar to make something on this game. So knight back to b8, let's exchange some pieces, and now bishop to h6. If you want to do that, it's not a problem for me. Knight to d7, developing the knight into the d7 square, and here queen to g5, putting a pressure on the e7 knight. Rook capture on c1, rook capture on c1, and here bishop capture, bishop capture on h6. Okay, queen capture on h6 played, and now rook to c8, challenging this rook on the c file. Rook capture on c8, knight capture on c8, and here after knight capture on c8, h5 now played by Fischer. Let's open some files and let's open some diagonals on the king side. And here Ocsar Panno blundered. Now here Ocsar Panno, okay? Panno blundered a terrible blunder. Here Ocsar Panno had to play knight back to f8, and I will explain why he had to play this. Here Ocsar Panno played queen back to d8, and this move was a blunder because here Fischer simply played queen to g5, threatening checkmate on the h7, queen capture on h7, and then queen capture on f7. So here Ocsar Panno simply played knight to f8, protecting that pawn, and here Fischer surprised Ocsar Panno. Now the normal play here will play something like pawn capture on g6, or something like, pushing f4 and trying to pushing f5, but here Fischer simply played bishop to e4. Bishop to e4 was so crazy move by Fischer. Now what's the idea about this move? The idea is that if you capture by the pawn, pawn capture on e4, and then now captured by the knight, threatening knight to f6 check. When you move your king to the h8, then knight capture on d7 or f7 will be a checkmate. Even if you play something like queen to e7, okay, then I have knight to f6 check, king to h8, and then I have knight capture on h7 simply. When I move this knight back, then it will be a checkmate. How to prevent this? There is no way. The only way to prevent this checkmate is playing knight to d6 here. And if you do that, the idea is that if you play knight to f6, king to h8, now you are not able to capture on the f7 because now the square protected by the knight. So here you will take back your piece, knight capture on d6. The white will play knight capture on d6, and by this, sorry, not knight capture, first here pawn capture on h5, g6. The idea that if you capture, then have pawn capture on h7. If king to h8, then knight capture on f7 will be a checkmate. So you cannot capture my knight, so you have to recapture by the pawn. And now I will capture your knight with a pressure on your with a double attack on your f7 pawn. And how will protect that pawn? It's too hard. And then Angel he says that the white has a huge advantage. F4 and f5 comes. So for this reason here, after bishop to e4, you are not able to capture that bishop. So here after bishop to e4, Panno here played queen to e7, and here Fischer surprised Panno again. Pause the video for a couple of seconds and try to find what Fischer played at this position. If you found that move, congratulations, you are so good player. If you didn't find that move, no problem, you are a good player too. The move which Fischer played here is knight capture h7. Knight capture h7 was so, it's yeah, this is Fischer. This is how Fischer playing chess. Knight capture on h7 played by Fischer. Crazy move. The idea that if you capture by the knight, and this is actually what happened. I were captured by the pawn, pawn capture on g6, pawn capture on g6, and now simply bishop capture on g6. And the idea here that your king now is in trouble here. Knight to h5 comes with knight to f6 check, and the engine he says that the white has a huge advantage. Here after knight capture on g7, knight to g5 played by Panno, okay, by Ocsar Panno. Now simply knight to h5. Knight to h5, I want to play knight to f6, and this is a checkmate actually, because if you play anything like a4, so knight to f6 comes. Now you cannot move your king to anywhere. All the squares protected, so you have to secure queen capture on f6, and then e capture on f6 comes, queen to g7 will be the next move. So here after knight to h5, knight to f3 check played by Ocsar Panno, trying to do something, but he simply king to g2, knight to h4 check played, king to g3, now attacking the knight, and now knight capture on g6 here, and here Fischer simply played knight to f6 check. The only move is king to f7, and here Fischer simply played queen to h7, and it was at this position that Ocsar Panno simply resigned this game. Why he resigned the game? Because the only move is king to f8, but simply here this move will meet by queen to a g8, and this move will be a checkmate. So for this season here, after queen to h7, it was at this position that Ocsar Panno simply resigned this game. Yeah, this is Fischer. One of the most greatest chess players ever in the chess history. I love his playing style. I love his Yeah, he's a so strong player. So this was the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you really enjoyed this video, please subscribe button below the video. If you click on it, I will appreciate it. I will appreciate this, and also this like button. Also below the video. If you click on it, you'll not lose anything. So just click on these buttons, and yeah, I will appreciate this. And see you in the next videos. Okay, see you.